Hey guys, today's just gonna be like a little impromptu rant. Nothing really fancy planned today, just here to talk about what I think about certain aspects of the car community. And that's really how I think we all get so caught up in the numbers like 0 to 60 and how fast your car goes. And how ultimately a lot of that, yes, emissions and inflation and everything has probably killed off affordable, fun, slow cars. But I also think just the focus that so many people put on 0 to 60 and how fast a car goes versus just the enjoyment of driving has been one of the driving factors that's killed slower, I shouldn't say slower, but more economical, enjoyable, fun little sports cars and cheaper, fun hatchbacks. I mean, uh, you don't really have much in the way of a manual hatchback anymore because VW killed the manual in the Golf. I mean, we've still got the GR Corolla, but those are almost $50,000 now. I mean, we've still got the Subaru BRZ and the Toyota GT86, but those are just so few and far between. And I think part of the problem that we as a car community need to recognize is it's partly our faults because we don't buy these less expensive, fun little sports cars. And then when auto manufacturers stop making them, we complain about not having affordable sports cars. Well, if a business isn't making money, they're going to stop making a product that they don't make money on. So if we want to see wagons come back instead of the soulless boxes that crossovers are, if we want to see more manual hatchbacks, and if we want to see more affordable, fun little sports cars that don't cost an arm and a leg, we got to show auto manufacturers that when they release these types of vehicles at auto shows as a concept, that we as car enthusiasts are willing to buy them. I know cars are expensive. I mean, your average economy box now is almost 30 grand. But as a car community, it seems that people are willing to maybe go a little further in their budget to get a fun car. So if these auto manufacturers put out cars that might be fun and less expensive, we have to show that we'd support them making these vehicles. I mean, BMW stopped making the 3 Series wagon in the US, which is why we don't get the M3 Touring, because people stopped buying them and bought X3s and stuff. We got to show that we want these products. So I think that, plus just getting caught up in 0 to 60 time and how fast a car goes and whether or not it's going to be good for the gram, is kind of why the US and really just auto manufacturers in general doesn't make these either A, affordable cars that are fun but slower, or B, wagons, because we get so caught up in all these other things about whether your car is faster than Billy Bob's down the street, whether you can go around the track super fast, and so you don't want a manual anymore. And then when they stop making a manual car, you get upset, but you stopped buying the manuals. I mean, the only reason Porsche put manuals back in the GT3 is because as soon as the 911R dropped back in 2016, they were sold out immediately. And so Porsche was like, oh, we actually have a market for these cars? Okay, well, now we'll put the manual back in the GT3. And so for the 991.2 generation, they put it back in. And I know this is a rambling rant and probably doesn't make much sense, but it was just, this is an impromptu kind of prequel video to the first episode of Two Dudes Garage, One Garage, coming up here hopefully soon. And just wanted to put my thoughts about how we as a car community, instead of complaining about things not being made anymore or whatnot, we need to show auto manufacturers that we want certain things. Like if, let's say tomorrow, Subaru put out a concept, or a better example, Mitsubishi put out a concept for a new Lancer Evolution with a 6-speed manual that was all-wheel drive and had a zippy little 4-banger. Well, in order for them to actually make it, we as a car community would have to say, yes, we want this. We want this ultimately slower but engaging driving machine made. I mean, that's what we as a car community need to do. We need to be less focused on the numbers. Because if you want 0 to 60, just buy a Tesla. Honestly, just buy a Tesla. Because we all know electric cars are the fastest 0 to 60. Nobody buys nobody buys an M5 because it's going to post the fastest 0 to 60 times. They buy an M5 because they're like, yeah, I've got a 600 horsepower twin turbocharged V8 that can both carve up the canyons and post good 0 to 60 time, but at the same time is a good daily driver. So I think we as a car community just need to, instead of complaining about why auto manufacturers no longer makes affordable sports cars with a manual, is because we no longer buy them. I mean, perfect example for a cheap car that you wouldn't think is fun, and granted it's slow because it's only got 90 horsepower and it's 26 years old, but there's times where I'm driving around in my beat up old Outback and I go through a roundabout and I can feel the weight load up on the outside, and I shift into third on the way out, and I'm like, yeah, that was fun. You know, I'm not ripping it and I'm not causing all this noise, but I'm having fun in a cheap car. So I think there's two things that I wanted to get across in this ramble. One, obviously, if an auto manufacturer puts out a concept that we like, we have to show the financial support to that company, because if nobody buys it, they're not going to make it, and then we're just going to keep complaining about why they don't make more affordable sports cars, or just more affordable driver's cars in general. If we keep complaining about it but we never buy it when they potentially release one, it's just going to continue going that way. And then we also just have to be okay with, yeah, the guy next to you in his M5 might be faster, but does he enjoy his car as much as you enjoy your car, even if your car is a beat up old box? Or did he just either A, take out a horrible loan so he could look good on the gram, or is he just buying it because he wants to flex on the poors on the street, you know? So I think that's just what we as a car community need to start doing. We need to start caring less about the numbers and track times, because most of us will never drive our car on the track, even if we buy a track car. And then we also need to support auto manufacturers when they release possible cars that could be enjoyable for us. That's it. That's my rant. I know it was rambling again, we're like the second worst car YouTube channel, but hopefully, if you listen to this stuff enough, we'll become the third worst. That's enough for today, guys.